Welcome to the Goth and the Sloth. I am your Sloth, Matt.
And I'm Luna the Goth.
This is a podcast of two friends living a country apart and parsing through one once-in-a-lifetime event at a time.
Or all of them at once,
Or
I
all
guess.
of them at once. We decided to take the first part of our podcast to discuss the COVID-19 pandemic, how it affects our lives, how it affects your lives, and, how it turned America into a third world nation. So how you been?
Fine, question mark? I don't know. It's been a crazy week. We'll talk about it, but I think I'm just like
Yeah.
surviving. How are you doing this week?
About the same, yeah. Just
Cool.
hanging
Cool.
in there. Yeah, we'll
Yep.
get into more later, but there is some good news on the way, so that's always something.
I mean, it's probably the title of the episode, but yeah, go ahead.
So let's dive into it. How's the Greater Virginia area doing, COVID wise? That is
So in terms of COVID, huh? What's that?
COVID wise. That is.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so in terms of COVID, we have about 24,000 more cases than last week. So we're at 387,917. That's down week to week about 3,000. So maybe it's the beginning of a trend of lowering cases. I doubt it. Um, and then for hospitalizations, we have 18,700, or I'm sorry, 918. So that's 700 more than last week, and we have had 300 more deaths in the last week. And really, it was just 5 days. Like we recorded pretty late last week, so
Yeah.
it's been less than a week. So yeah, no hope on the numbers going down on a weekly basis. But we still have 13 cases of multisystem inflammatory syndrome in children, so that's still a thing. Um, Northern Virginia health districts will begin the next phase of COVID vaccines next week. So that's good news. They will be gradually adding vaccination opportunities to frontline essential workers, people age 75 or older, and people living in correctional facilities, homeless shelters, or migrant labor camps.
All right, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, another level of the vaccine rollout is definitely good news. It's just the rate at which they are vaccinating people, we still won't reach herd immunity until a
Uh,
few years from now.
yeah.
So we'll see. One of the many things that the current president's administration have has botched. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens with a new one.
Yeah.
So what about you? What's going on in Colorado?
Um, I guess the same. I don't know. So we're at 356,180. 110 cases, which is up 17,000, which is slightly up from last week, but not a significant amount. So steady. 19,855 hospitalizations. So we're up 1,000 week to week, and 4,107 deaths, which is 200 week to week. And we are currently sitting at a 7% positivity rate on tests, which is up, but less than a percent up. So I
Wow.
think we're scratching the surface of the holiday rush. I think it's starting to show, is my personal opinion.
Yeah, and one figure I forgot to share in Virginia that was pretty striking is that in the Hampton area, which is not really near me, but is a place, we are at a 25% positivity rate there. So there's a really big outbreak in that area. But yeah, I mean, people travel,
Yeah,
unfortunately, and refuse to stop breathing all over each other.
that's
So
true. Speaking
here we are.
speaking of big outbreaks, I forgot to mention this last week, so I'm going to mention it this week because it's still a thing. It's being reported on. So a big thing that happened in Colorado this last year was we got our first In-N-Out burgers.
Oh yeah.
And
Yep.
yeah, they had a massive outbreak in their employees. 125 employees at In-N-Out Burger have contracted the virus.
Such dum-dums.
So,
I like on one hand it's like you knew you were doing a rollout, you knew that you were doing this grand opening.
yep.
Like so you invested a lot of money, it's going to be really hard to change that. And on the other hand, you know you're doing a huge rollout and grand opening. There's going to be a
Yeah,
lot of
just
people
announcing
around
that they
each
were going to
other
open one was a
because you
major
can't tell people
story
in
in Colorado.
Colorado not to go to the new In and Out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, just the announcement was a major thing, and so yeah, obviously when it opens, even if they're not open for indoor dining, um, that's just not a great idea.
Yeah. Well,
So that's the thing that
dum
happened.
dums.
We're still sitting strong at orange restrictions, which is 25% occupancy at restaurants, indoors, and some other various things. But we are showing, up, so I don't know how long that's going to stay, how long it'll roll back. It's all day to day. I know it's a balance, as you mentioned before. It's a balance between making people angry and trying to have businesses and doing all that. So it's not a fun
Yeah,
choice.
it's almost impossible to find the balance there. So once again, I do not envy the people that have to make those decisions.
Yeah. So that's about it for Colorado news. So what's new in Luna's world these days?
Not much. I've been working out more now that I am feeling better, but it's like super fun and feels good, but it's also really depressing because I've lost so much strength. Like I'm still strong, but like the strength that gave me an edge before is like not there at all. So
Oh
just
no.
feel like I feel strong but not extraordinary. And that's annoying to have to reacquire skills in aerial, but that's not a bad thing. I mean, there are worse things. I'm not like dying or
Oh
something.
yeah, it could be
So-
you could be me after just 2 weeks of not taking my daily walks. I tried to take a walk and had to cut it short because my back and legs were killing me. That's just
oh
two
no.
weeks.
God damn, yeah, that sucks. But that's exactly what it feels like is like, oh, let me just climb this thing. It's fine. And then you climb it and you're like, ow,
Yeah.
this sucks. Like I used to be able to do this without thinking and now it hurts again. But yeah, that's basically it. What about you?
Not a lot. Since we're in the orange restrictions, my band's trying to spin up to playing Lost Lake Lounge in Denver. We'll see how that goes. It's a Thursday night during COVID, so I imagine it'll be one of those shows where it's the bar staff and maybe a couple people. But what can you do? We're gonna go out and play some shows and have some fun. And I got my money from my car getting stolen, so next week I'll be getting a new car. So that's gonna be fun as
Woohoo!
well.
You get to buy it with cash, so you get to just like roll up and be like, "Give me that one."
I wish if I was going a bit more used, I can buy it off right away. But I'm gonna have a hell of a down payment though.
Oh, well, awesome. That's better,
So yeah, about
probably,
a third.
because then you can get what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Like yeah, I put down about a third of what the car's were, payment. So
Well, that would be nice.
that'll be good.
Yeah, yay. Hopefully that will get January in a significantly better space than it is
Yeah.
now.
Speaking of which, our topic today sprung up on us. So
Yeah. So it's we're recording this on January 8th and we're recording it at almost 8 p.m. Eastern, which is important because things change every freaking minute.
yes.
so as of right now, and as we're recording, I'm not looking at the news, so who knows what's happening right now. But it's been a hell of a week of
Yeah.
2021. 1 week in, and here we go. So in the last week, we have we had the Georgia Senate runoff
Mm-hmm.
elections, which we talked about in the last episode. We President-elect Joe Biden has been confirmed as the next president of the United States. A mob broke into the nation's capital. Yes, you heard that right. If you're not in the US and somehow you didn't look at the phone, everybody's talking
Yeah.
about this, so you had to know. Um, and Twitter, Trump's Twitter account has been suspended permanently, and as of right now, Parler is down. So we have quite a lot to talk about. I'll start out with the Georgia Senate runoff elections. It was a major upset and a very positive one in my eyes that both of the Democrat candidates won, um, or candidate or campaigns, whatever, however you say that. So we have senators elect Ossoff and Warnock, and so that will the give Democrats a majority in the Senate, a very, very razor thin
Mm-hmm.
majority, because it will be 50-50, and then the tiebreaker will be uh, Vice President elect Kamala Harris. So that was great news. That
Yeah.
happened on, well, the elections were Tuesday, and everyone was like cautiously optimistic, but we all know not to get too
Right.
optimistic on Tuesday nights of election nights, especially with COVID and everything. So, um, and then Wednesday hit. Wednesday morning, they certified it like super early in the morning. They called Warnock at like 1 a.m. I think, or around midnight, and then Ossoff wasn't called until, like, he called it at probably like 10 a.m. or like morning-ish, and he wasn't. They didn't call it until the afternoon, but no one was paying attention by the afternoon because on Wednesday, January 6th, um, a bunch of Trump supporters went to a Stop the Steal rally in DC, and that morning, I'm trying to pack so much
Yeah.
detail into this, but that the morning of that Wednesday, Trump continued to insist that Vice President Mike Pence had the power to just throw out the electoral college votes and just make him
Right.
president.
And yeah, if you listened last week, like not a this isn't like a vote. It was just like you know
It was a reading
a
of
reading of the
the
vote.
electoral.
Yeah. It.
Yeah, like they go state by state and certify each state's votes. Like it's very procedural and boring. And Trump kept telling people that, oh, Mike Pence is gonna do the thing. Like he's got to have the courage to make it happen. So he has this speech that morning with a bunch of MAGA people, and he's telling them, well, you guys go down to the Capitol building. Actually, he said we,
Oh yeah.
like he was gonna go
Oh,
with
he
them.
specifically said, "I'll be with you."
Yeah, he did. And he did not, but no one's surprised by that.
Yeah.
Um, so he tells them to go to the Capitol building to give the Republicans courage to do what's right. Um, and Matt can take it from there on what happened on this horrific historical moment in the
Yeah.
U.S.
So I'll go broad strokes first, and then we can get deep into bits and pieces as it comes up. But so all these people sparked by this rally and their great leader, great in heavy quotation marks, just moved on to the Capitol from their rally point and started protesting the Capitol essentially. And at a point, the barricades broke down. And they essentially walked themselves right inside the Capitol and began vandalizing and destroying the Capitol. One person got shot. Another person died of a heart attack. These were actually the people that went into it. And one police officer died from wounds suffered.
There were also two
Was there two
other.
other ones?
Yeah, so 5 people have died total. One was a police
Yeah.
officer.
And they essentially took over the Capitol for roughly 2 to 3 hours, postponing the confirmation of the electoral votes,
Mhm.
but only by 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because once all the people were calmly walked out of the office, which we'll come back to that at a point, all the senators reconvened and went ahead with confirming the electoral votes with only minor, what do I want to call it,
Interruption.
interruptions or protests or people saying, I'm not,
Oh, people
yeah, people
blocking.
trying to block it.
Yeah. Yeah, the senators seem to get whipped back into shape by having their life threatened.
Yes.
Um, but some House representatives weren't threatened enough, I guess.
Nope.
I don't I don't know what's wrong with them, but there were still 127, 26
Yeah.
uh, House representatives that were trying to block Pennsylvania's electoral college votes. It didn't work,
Yeah.
but that is a striking number. Um, that even after the insurrection, they were like, "No, I still want to block the."
Yeah.
Jesus Christ,
So,
ridiculous.
let's unpack some of this. So first off, I think the big one is slightly putting on my tinfoil hat, but not that much. The lax amount of security around a major protest in the most important building in America.
Yeah, I don't think that's a tin hat. I think that's just a regular human hat. Like anyone with critical thinking should be able to see the difference of how much security was at the Capitol on Wednesday after weeks, months of people speaking very openly about coming to the Capitol armed. They're calling for the death of different senators. They're calling for all sorts of violent actions, and they just didn't put cops there.
Yeah.
Um, by contrast, you can look up videos of what the Capitol building looked like when BLM went there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it looked like it was like it looked like the Capitol was under martial law. Like it
Yeah.
was like
Absolutely.
wrapped in like National Guard. And Wednesday, that was not the case.
Sorry,
Are
you
you
broke
there?
up a bit on that one.
Oh.
Yeah, now we're back. Okay. Lost you for a second there. So, but yeah, there's also very interesting footage of police opening the barricades, and the police
Mhm.
at the doors essentially going, "No, stop! No, oh no, there they go. Oh, shoot, dang, yeah, I tried."
Mhm.
Once again, compared to the BLM protests, where that one video of the guy walking up to the cop and the cop knocks him right on the ground and cracks his head open. The one lady walking up to police, just by herself, hands open, and she got fully arrested.
I mean, there. Yeah, it's every single video you've ever seen from the summer of 2020 was
Yeah.
a major, major difference um, this time. And we haven't explicitly said it, but yes, this crowd was majority white, and it's pretty disgusting to watch. You just watch these people with white supremacist symbols tattooed on their body or on the clothes that they're wearing, and with a Confederate flag marching through the halls of the Capitol of the United States of America. It was absolutely heartbreaking to watch. Like, and to watch zero reaction
Yeah.
from the police and the National Guard. Trump didn't call in the National Guard at all. Mike
Nope.
Pence had to go over his head and call in the National Guard, and it took them a little while to get there because they weren't on standby. Like, it's just, yeah, it was a disgrace, and a logical conclusion. or hopefully a conclusion. I mean, a logical next step of everything that these people have been spouting
Yeah.
for 5 years.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been tipped out around it a bit, but let's jump right into it. If these were black people storming the Capitol, do you
Oh yeah,
think?
they all be dead.
Yeah, completely different story right there.
Yeah.
They were calmly walked out once the National Guard did show up. One police officer helping a elderly insurrectionist down the steps.
Oh my gosh, that video was one of the most disgusting ones. I mean, it was disgusting to watch them open the gates. It was disgusting to watch the police officer open the gate and then wave wildly at everyone to come inside.
Yeah,
It was heartbreaking to watch the police gingerly walk this woman down the stairs after breaking into the Capitol building.
yeah,
Like, what? If it basically the this all boils down to, if you didn't believe that there was white privilege before, here's some fucking proof.
absolutely. It's
And the whole world saw it.
yeah. This is
It's like,
there's a Indian headline that said Ku Klux Klan, coup spelled like a coup. Was it mobs the Capitol after Trump, something like that. But yeah, just the Ku Klux Klan bit of it, because every other country that's not afraid of it, it just called it as it is. It's white supremacists tried to take over our capital.
yeah, and I mean, to give some of us some credit, most of us are willing to say exactly what it is.
Yeah,
It's just the white people that are scared of racism that don't want to say what it is.
yeah, and
Everybody else in the US is like, this is it. This is the thing that we've been talking about this whole time.
well, the media still has a hard time with it.
Oh, yeah, the media
Um,
has a hard time because guess who pays them?
yeah, because like the one lady who was shot, all I'm seeing is how she served the military. No one talks about the fact that she's been arrested multiple times and has 3 restraining orders against her. And
Yeah,
what?
yeah. And on that note of that woman, there's been like right after, some people were like, aren't you gonna do say her name with her? She was killed by police. And it's like, no, they used the correct amount of force
Yeah,
for someone trying to break into the Capitol building and not stopping when being told to stop. Of all the buildings that they should be protecting, it's that one. It had most of the line of succession for ruling the United States in that building. They
yeah,
are supposed to use deadly force if they can't get them to stop.
yeah.
Like, maybe they should have tased her or whatever, but it was also a pretty extenuating circumstance, so I don't know. But no, we're not going to say her name
No,
to this woman. She stood against everything else that we're fighting for.
yeah. No, and every time a black person's killed, they bring up their criminal record, and you can
Yeah,
this is that two Americas thing right there. Is this person? Oh, she was in the military. So what? If one person put it on Twitter, this doesn't say anything about her as a military servant. This actually says that there's actually a bit of a white supremacist problem inside the military.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty, I mean, we all knew it. Nothing here
Yeah.
is surprising. It's
No.
just appalling to watch. Like, to watch
That's
the
yeah.
Capitol, this place where we elect people to go and fight for our causes, be completely defaced by white nationalists and white supremacists and Confederate flags and Trump 2020 flags. Yo, it's 2021. He lost. What are you doing? Like, go
Yeah.
home.
And they tore down an American flag to put up a Trump one. That just tells you right there, where they're at.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. Um so in uh response to this, right? Like, so this happened Wednesday and it was not great.
No.
um it does calm down by nightfall because eventually Trump gets online and says, "Everybody go home," and he calls them very special, lovely people or whatever. We love you or was whatever.
Yep.
Nasty. It was gross.
It
Um,
was terrible.
but they were like they left. And the like Matt mentioned the um certification of the electoral votes continued well into the night, but eventually resulted in Joe Biden being confirmed. Um, so what next? Here's where like I'm having the most trouble. Like, yes, it was really difficult to watch all the nooses and the white supremacists and the Confederate flag in the Capitol. Like, yeah, that really sucked. It really sucked watching these people take selfies with the police officers and, you know, ransack offices and steal mail, and just it was really, really gross.
Hmm.
So what's gonna happen? Matt mentioned that everybody was walked out, so very few people were arrested that day, and that the arrests
Hmm.
seem to have been made later on in the day, for violating curfew. So as far as the president is concerned, um, there are two options that everyone is talking about. One is enacting the 25th Amendment, which would
Hmm.
have him removed from office immediately because he is unfit for office.
Yep.
And the second would be another impeachment.
Yeah.
but but in my opinion, the impeachment, while it could be a statement to go down in the books or whatever, to me, what I really want to see is impeach and remove. Like, he needs to be convicted and removed from office, because if
Yes.
either of those things happen, he cannot run again.
Yeah.
Um, and that would save me and everybody else a lot of stress, I feel.
Yeah.
Like, if we
No,
knew that
absolutely.
Trump can't run in 2024, like, oh, okay, I can breathe. Um, so where are those things? I mean, the 25th Amendment, tr- Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer tried to speak with Mike Pence to make it happen. Um, yesterday, what day? Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, it
And
was
Mike
yesterday. Yep.
Pence just didn't answer the phone. So, uh, we are looking at the House Democrats have drawn up articles of impeachment. um, they're probably going to submit them on Monday, maybe hear them middle of the week. I don't know. There's a lot of questions around what will happen. I'm not really um, confident that anything will happen, frankly. I mean, he's got 12 days left. Um, the problem is that he still has a lot of power.
He does.
So even though he's got 12 days left, you can't tell people to storm the capital of the United States in your name and get away with it. Like,
Yeah.
that's not the way this is supposed to work. But the corruption is so deep in DC that it's like, I'm not sure anything's going to happen, which is depressing. Um,
Yeah.
and there have been a few arrests they announced today. The charges seem pretty light, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I don't know enough about that stuff to have a real opinion about it. Just in hearing it was like trespassing a restricted area and stealing some mail, and it's like they broke into the Capitol
Yeah.
building.
There's
Like,
kind of an interesting thing. We'll see if it comes into play, but Trump signed an executive order that anyone defacing federal property gets a minimum 10 years in jail.
yeah, yeah, we'll see if that
And
happens.
exactly, but yeah, exactly. But breaking Nancy Pelosi's door, I think, falls under destroying federal property.
Oh yeah, stole
So,
her gavel. I mean, there's just so much. They did so much bullshit in there. And you're right. Like, he put that in place because of the Confederate monuments, and he
yeah,
was trying to get people, in jail for defacing federal monuments. So maybe it will work against him. But again, I just,
it's
I'm not sure
it.
anything is going to happen because I just feel like the corruption is so deep,
Yeah,
and so many Republicans are still drinking the Kool-Aid. It's like
Yeah.
this guy is a cult leader. Like we have to get him out of power, but I'm just
Yeah.
a
I
lowly
mean, there's
peon.
I mean, there's still things that are happening in the good side. A lot of people that have been identified have lost jobs already. The one idiot who wore his works badge in very plain view,
So stupid.
that company's let him go. And I know everyone that had any business is like Navstar or some bullshit like that. But, everyone's like, I don't even want to do business with you if this is the kind of people that you're going to hire.
Oh
Um,
yeah. And that's true. They are getting outed. But to me it's still frustrating that the FBI is like putting out there on social media on all platforms like let us know if you see anything. We want to catch the people. It's like they took selfie. Go to Parlor. There's literally an app
yeah.
for what you're asking to do. Go to Parlor and
Yeah.
just find them there.
Yeah,
It's
the sad crying girl, which is hilarious, is identified herself directly.
yeah, she did. She
They
just gave her name. It's really funny on TikTok. A lot of black creators are like, "White people, this is why we don't want to fuck with y'all because y'all can't even criminal right."
yeah. Have you seen the Animaniacs remix of that?
Oh, that's perfect. Yes, it's very
It's
good.
so good. But like, yeah, and they're anti-maskers, so they didn't wear masks when they created federal crimes. They did federal crimes,
Yeah, so
so
they just took selfies without masks in the Capitol, like dum-dums. Yeah.
And a lot of people are seeing them getting pissed, though, that they're basically being sold down the river by their great leader.
Mhm.
So that's a little bit of fun Schadenfreude right there for you. Is There's a whole, I guess, Reddit thread I saw some screenshots of where they're like, we went in there as patriots and now they're calling us Antifa, or, you know, our president said he would never concede.
Yeah, I saw those comments and I also saw the posts on Parlor that were like, I'm not on Parlor. I just follow accounts that do go on Parlor so that I don't have to. That's literally what she
Sure.
says. She calls herself Parlor Martyr and she goes on Parlor so I don't have to. It's perfect. Um and on her account she was showing all of the posts that were like they're just explaining it all away. Like they're
Yeah.
still 100% like neck deep up his asshole.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. It's really interesting. Like they're
It's
planning on doing it again. They're planning for January 19th. Um, but I mean, that comes around to Twitter and Parler. So Twitter warned Trump on Wednesday that if he continues to violate their standards, they're going to, shut down his account. They did restrict him or suspend his account for 12 hours, which was the first time they ever did anything like that.
Yep.
Um, for because he was inciting violence, and uh, then he got back on, and then he continued on his bullshit, and
Yeah.
they shut him down, and it's a beautiful thing. I highly
It is.
recommend it. Just go to Twitter, look up real Donald Trump, and look at how blank it is. It's
Yeah.
so beautiful and blank.
So I mean, it's a newer thing, but he is the first president in history to get banned from social media. Almost every social media outlet has banned him at this point.
It's true. And so the news with the Parlor part of things is that I assume so Parlor is down or was down at the beginning of taping this episode. And I'm assuming it is because Apple threatened to take the app off of their app store
Mm-hmm.
because Apple said that they're violating their own terms of service by not like taking
Moderating
moderating it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, they have 24 hours to respond to Apple and decide what they're going to do. And maybe this means that only like all white supremacists will have androids. Could be a thing. I don't know.
Aww.
It had to be
I
one
mean,
side or the other.
means I have to get an iPhone.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they'll figure out some sort of loophole, but
They always do, but
it was just a nice, like little 30-minute stretch where it was like, oh shit, his thing is down. Oh shit, Parlor's down.
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, that's what I saw coming into this recording, and like I knew we were gonna get down, like with some bad stuff, and get dour for a bit, but also was like, but there's also a lot of wins that are happening all at once.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And then we have the impact on Republicans. So this is tearing the Republican Party apart. Like, this is the end of the GOP. They're going to have
Whoop.
to figure out what they're going to do after this, which is pretty nice to think about.
Yeah.
However, we do have to be realistic that these people aren't going away. This is like a good solid one half of the country feels this way,
Hmm.
and one third of the country is drinking the sauce. That's a lot of freaking people. So we have to be able to
Yeah.
deal with that moving forward. That said, Republicans have to watch what they say because
Yeah.
we have um like Lindsey Graham, not a fan of that guy.
No.
He on the Senate floor gave a little speech during the certification of electoral college votes when they got back from being in their hidey holes.
From
They
being in a
came
high school.
in a high school.
Yeah. Because,
Oh,
we always
because of the
have the
bomb
active
drills.
shooter Drews. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So when they got back from their little secret hidey place, he gave a little speech that was like, finally saying what he should have said on November 4th, which was,
Hmm.
you know, this is the way it is. Biden's going to be the next president. We can't go against the Constitution, blah, blah, blah. People are trying to give him credit for that. I do not give him any credit for doing the
No.
bare minimum. Um, that said, he now has so many enemies in the Republican Party because there's footage of him walking through a DC airport and the Trump mob descends on him.
I was about to say that, yeah.
And it is it's like another form of Schadenfreude. Like
Right?
I don't usually like actually experience Schadenfreude because usually I feel sadness for the person. I don't feel sad for him.
No.
I do not.
So yeah, it's an interesting world that they now have to navigate through because they backed garbage 100%, and now that garbage is starting to smell, they either have to continue down the road or shift, and everyone knows that shift is either bullshit or they just know they're rats deserting and sinking ship. Um,
And
so
speaking of
it's
rats deserting sinking ships, there have been lots of resignations in the past 24 hours,
yes, I meant
including
to.
Betsy DeVos. Fucking, oh man. Okay, do not get me wrong. I do not like that woman. I don't like what she stands for. I don't like her policies. There's very little that I like about that woman. There's a whole episode of it. You can go back and
Yeah,
listen.
was hoping you'd talk about this. Yes.
That said, for her to resign like 13 days before the end of her term just because she's trying to like save face, ain't nobody fooled by that bullshit. All right? Like you are just trying to do a little virtue signaling before you go so that you're not painted with whatever the next 12 days has in
Yeah.
store. And what she took with her was her potential vote for the 25th Amendment since she's part of the appointed cabinet. So, with by her doing that, it is more her protecting herself so that she's not going to be asked to vote on the 25th Amendment if they even go for it, which I don't think they will. But if she
No.
stayed, there was a chance that they could. And now she won't be able to vote on it. Now she's abandoning even that. So even as she goes, she is the yeah. I just
She's still the
she's
worst.
still the worst. She is still the worst. I very passionate about how much she has, yeah, fucked up education in this country.
The one resignation I do feel bad about is I can't remember her name, but she was Melania's secretary of something.
I don't know.
Secretary of Staff or something. It's pretty low appointee kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she dropped off. She was actually the first to really go. And just looking at her history and here and talking about it, she had a much better spot under Obama. And sounds like she got kicked down the runs
Aw.
and kind of was just put in charge of Secretary of Staff for Melania Trump.
Ah.
And yeah, so that's because she was like way up, like in with the president Obama, and got kicked down the runs, and now she finally has to just leave that job, and she's I think she was holding on just so she can maybe get a better appointment,
Under Biden.
come under Biden.
She may still.
So
I mean, they could bring her
she can.
back. It's just, yeah, that sucks. Like, it's the thing. Another aspect of all of this is that we're not just talking about. It sounds so big that it's hard to remember that we're talking about individual humans and all of the people involved in government. So
Mm-hmm.
when they evacuated the uh, Senate chambers, it wasn't just the senators, it's all their
Mm-mm.
staff too.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of people that are being affected by this event that no one's talking about. But they were there. They
Yeah.
feared for their lives too. Um, and they don't get paid nearly as much
No.
as other people.
Some don't get paid at all because they're interns.
Exactly. It's really sad that it came to this, that the country that, even though I've been disenchanted with the way that America has, the US specifically has uh, had a hard time facing its past and just
Mm-hmm.
naming its racism. Um, it's really sad to see a country and a democracy that I believe is worth fighting for, as far as fighting for the rights of people to participate in this democracy.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad to see it defaced by a bunch of white supremacist conservatives that are just fighting to say the N word. I mean, that's not all they stand for, but it's part of it.
No, that's one thing a lot of people pointed out on Twitter too. It's like, why are you're gonna be just fine. Like, why are you going nuts here? You're white and middle class. You'll be just fine under Biden,
It's
I'm
true.
sure.
It's pretty true.
Yeah, it's I never expected his followers to go quietly into the night. I think I mentioned it last week that they were going in for 4 years of he stole the election, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But yeah, still to see it taken this far in an attempted coup, which that's what it is.
Oh, I
Um,
remember what I was going to say about
oh, sure.
it being an attempted coup. Like, at first I was like, well, maybe they wanted to get in there to uh, s- change the outcome or steal the electoral college votes or something to actually officially change the outcome of what's going on. Um, and they didn't. So that's a win. Like, they got in there, but they couldn't do much more than take pictures. So cool. And then I realized, after watching a bunch of interviews, no, Nisha, oh my God. But then I realized that that's not what they wanted at all. They just wanted to send a
Nope.
message. They wanted to get in there and send a message. And they did. So from their perspective, they won. And that's painful to think about. It's
Hmm.
not like they tried and they didn't succeed. So, we'll just take what we can get. Like, they got in and did exactly what they wanted, which was to send a message that they could.
Well, I think they wanted to do more, and didn't because there are a lot of pictures with people with restraints with them.
Hmm.
And so, what was the plan with those?
I don't know. I mean, maybe some people, but as far as the QAnon shaman dude, um,
Yeah,
he was saying that they did exactly what they went there to do.
I think there was a whole lot there. It was planned, but there's a lot of different
Yeah,
plans.
that's probably more
And I
more
think
accurate. Yeah.
because there are some kind of disturbing pictures when you find them of people with the military grade zip tie restraints. And why would you bring those to a
Well,
rally?
certainly it makes sense to have them in case they came across people, but I'm not sure they still got their point across. Like, I don't think they would have
Oh yeah, absolutely.
been able to do anything else if, like, if they came across some people, they could zip tie them, but um I'm not sure that they feel like they were defeated in any way.
No, absolutely not. Um, because yeah, like we mentioned, they were walked out nice and calmly, and very little arrests. We'll see what happens with an investigation under the new administration, because by the time that rolls out, or at least the findings come, it'll be under a new administration, so they won't be able to hopefully sweep as much under the rug.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's we just got to wait and see. I don't have a ton of hope, but
Yeah,
we'll see. I just feel like the corruption is rampant.
it's pretty deep, but I don't know. This is such a big on the radar kind of thing. At least where the fault of security happens, I don't think you're gonna be able to go like they just didn't expect it. I
Yeah,
don't
I mean
know.
someone's going to take the fall. Like I think the head of the Capitol Police chief maybe. I don't know what his role is, but I believe he's supposed to be stepping down in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
so and there will be others that take the fall, but I don't know. Could be the people they wanted to take the fall all along. Who knows? I just don't. I don't trust much right now.
I don't know. So yeah. So yeah, like I'm with you. With I hope he gets impeached to where he can't run again. But also Pence has the ability to become a great president by just enacting 25 and then just sitting down and doing nothing for a few
It's
days.
true. I don't think he's gonna do that though.
He he's not going to, but he has the ability to just be no, kind of seen as pretty great by doing nothing.
Yeah,
You know,
go down in history as president. Um,
be a president, be one that cleared out a
yep.
dictator, and all he has to do is just do nothing. But apparently, that's not in him to
Who
do.
knows? It's so weird. Like I said at the beginning, there everything changes minute to minute. So we will definitely have updates next week.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, unless you got anything more to add,
Mm-mm.
we will jump into, I think, something that's very important this week: our distractions. What are we distracting ourselves from the fall of democracy?
Oh, don't say that. um, well, for me, I have not been sleeping a ton this week, and I've been working a lot. So mostly still TikTok. It's just
All right.
spending a lot of time on that app. Yeah, I haven't been very good at distracting myself this week because I've been immersed in everything all day, every day. So I should probably do something to distract myself this weekend.
Well, how's the France skyline going?
It's good. I actually paused this week because I can't think. It's like not enjoyable right now. Right now, it's like stressful. So I'm actually waiting for football on Sunday. I like sitting and doing it while I watch a football game. So
Nice.
I'll keep I'll keep it up on I'll pick it back up on Sunday. Ugh. It's just been such a week. I'm
It
just
has been.
tired. But yeah, I'll find a way to distract myself this weekend. What about you? What are you distracting yourself with?
Few things. So I was set to record a song on Wednesday. I wrote a new song that's pretty much ready to go. Probably go through lyrics a few more times, but musically it's ready to record. But then I ended up doom scrolling all night through Twitter. So,
What? You were scrolling on Wednesday. So weird.
right? But I did finish my International Space Station Lego set. So
Oh,
that's ready to go. Um, that was fun. There's a
that's
lot of good
awesome.
stuff.
What do
I
you do with your finished sets?
This one I actually have like a hangy, like a hook that's meant for like hangy plants. But
Ooh,
I'm going, since it's it's a space thing. I'm
yeah,
gonna try and hang it with some fishing line.
cool. Do you have to like seal it or something?
No, Lego's good. You just let it, let it Lego.
Oh my gosh, that sounds terrifying. I just feel like one day it's just gonna like break into a million pieces on the floor.
It's gonna get a cat attack and just.
Oh god. That
All my ones that I've done so far are safe from the cats. They're in various places, or like the Batmobile. She's not gonna be able to push that off. Like that thing is. That's a hefty.
it's
That's a
beefy.
hefty boy. But yeah, this one's gonna be hanging, so she can't get that too. But
Okay.
yeah, just got to find places and places for them.
No, makes sense.
So I got that. I started Star Trek: The Next Generation. I have seen most of those, so it's just kind of a nice rewatch
Mm,
through them. But
so good.
yeah, no, it's like I'm only 3 episodes in already. I'm like, God, this is so good. Like just when the theme song played, because I've been watching the originals so much, like I'm used
hmm
to that theme song, and when this one plays in and it's all orchestral and big and grand, I'm like, such a good show.
Yeah, it is. It's a pretty comforting show to watch.
And let's see. Oh, and today I'm starting a new thing called Fast Fridays.
Okay. What does that
I'm
mean?
going I'm going to be watching a Fast and the Furious movie
Oh
every
God.
Friday until I get through the entire series.
You're such a masochist. I just don't understand your choices.
I want to, it's like when you watched all the what are they
Lord of the
called?
Rings.
No, the Purge movies.
Oh yeah.
Although those are probably better. But
Uh-huh.
it's like you just kind of you want to know why. I want to know why there's so many sequels. I want to see what people see in it, and
I don't know. I mean, to be fair, I watched all four movies in a row and it was one night of my life. it was it was not a weekly event that I have subjected myself to these movies. But hey, you do whatever you want. I'm proud of you for making decisions to do whatever the fuck you want. So have fun, but don't come crying to me when your eyeballs hurt.
right. That's why you space them out though. If I had to like sit and watch all of them, I would probably shoot my brains out. But
Yeah. Yeah,
you,
that
you get a week in
probably.
between.
Yeah, hey, you do you, boo. You do you.
So I think that brings us to everyone's favorite part of the podcast. Only in a pandemic.
And major civil unrest.
Stories that can only happen in a pandemic and major civil unrest. What do you got for us?
Mine's super boring this week, but it's very true that only in a pandemic and major civil unrest do I stay up all freaking night watching the runoff election results. And all night the next night watching the certification. It's like literally watching Pence say the same thing over and over of like, and this state blah de blah certify as here to blah de da de da blah blah blah. And this person says, the blah 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 of this state says da 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 da, and he goes blah 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 blah, blah and bang the gavel. It is certified blah 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 for Joe Biden, blah blah blah, and just over and over every fucking state. But it was so important that I was like, if I fall asleep, I'm gonna miss something. so,
Right?
so I just yeah, and then they broke for Pennsylvania, and that was a big damn deal because the Senate like no one really made any speeches and they were able to just be like, okay, this isn't passing, which meant that it wasn't going to pass at all. But then in the House, they were still going back and forth since there were so many House Republicans that wanted to block it. And it
hmm
was like, guys, just, it's not going to pass. Just stop. So that was my only in a pandemic thing this week was being thrilled yet bored to tears
Okay.
by that. Oh, there was almost a fist fight in the House of Representatives. That was fun.
Oh,
So
all
that was
right.
something. It was like right around like 1 a.m. I was like, oh shit, what's happening? And then Nancy Pelosi's like sitting there banging the gavel, like, the gentleman will proceed. The gentleman will proceed. And the guy's like trying to finish his speech, but there's squabbling. It was pretty. And of course, it's like, oh, yeah, it was interesting. Although I think the one of the guys was like an ex linebacker. So I'm not sure why anybody was picking a fight with him. But so maybe there was a little bit of drama in there, but not enough.
That sounds like politics, though.
Yeah.
Exciting but boring.
Exactly. Super important, but oh my god, why is it still going on? What about you? What's your only pandemic story this week?
Well, only in a pandemic, and I'm going to add a caveat of in a world full of idiots.
Okay.
Do people mistake a COVID vaccine for a distortion pedal?
What?
So, got a story here that's brought to me by fan of the show Doug,
Doug.
and it says conspiracy theorists in Italy are warning the public of a 5G chip, claiming it is planted in the COVID-19 vaccines. However, the widely circulated image of the chip in question has been outed as a reworked schematic of the Boss Metal Zone pedal.
Oh my god. Fucking idiots. God damn it. People will believe anything.
We we went from like you can't believe anything on the internet to it's on the internet, it must be true, like way too fast.
Way too fast. And like we knew that the boomers were going to be that way. We knew that we had to be like, "No, no, mom. Just cuz you saw it on the internet doesn't mean it's true." And now people are thinking all sorts of crazy ass shit. What even is this world?
What even is it? But yeah, it is funny because that is the distortion pedal that Doug uses on his pedal board too.
Oh,
So
nice. So does that mean that he's in on this whole thing or
he might be spreading the vaccine through his pedal whenever he stomps on it. Or he might be spreading the disease through this pedal.
I was gonna say, then he's a hero. You guys gotta go play a bunch of shows.
Oh, good times. Yeah, let's wrap this guy up to see if there's any crazy news, and I have Indian food waiting for my belly. So, let's wrap it up with our hermit levels on Leonardo DiCaprio scale. A 10 being Howard Hughes, and you've been locked inside one room for months on end, and you refuse to see anybody. Or a 1 being the Wolf of Wall Street, and you're doing coke off of hookers' asses, and you're partying down with all your buddies. Where are we at?
Well, definitely not that last one. I am solidly, uh, I'd say a 9, because I really
Yeah.
haven't. I've had to go to work. I've worked almost like I've worked in the studio almost every day this week, so I feel like I've seen humans that like counts. I'm not quite a 9.5 because I have seen so many humans, but I also haven't done anything except for stay up late at night watching the television at home. So,
Wow.
yeah, 9. What about you?
I'm probably still at a 9.5, maybe edging higher. Because still without a car, I have not left my apartment except for band practice on
Well,
Sunday.
that's a thing.
So
Because
that's a
last week
thing
you
that
didn't
keeps it.
have band practice. So,
Yeah. So outside of that, so that probably gets me down to like a 9.5. But outside of that, I haven't seen people. I've gone out for walks, and that's about it.
did you see the delivery person that just saw you?
I did. I usually catch them because there's a bit of a corridor from my door to the cars, and I can, thank them from a very far
Okay,
distance.
so that was a
So
human.
that is a human.
Well, that's good. At least you're staying safe away from the virus as it rampages.
Exactly. So I'll be plenty safe when I can go look for a car. I'm not at a risk of infecting anyone when I'm car shopping next week. So
Yes, excellent.
that's always positive. So, where can people find us at if they want to, ask some questions or hit up the show?
So you can find me at LUNA_MINUIT on Instagram, Twitter, and now TikTok. You can find the podcast, at Goth and Sloth on Instagram and Twitter, and you can email us at gothandsloth@gmail.com. What about you, Matt?
So you can get me on Twitter at wizard_Matt, and my Instagram is wizard cosplay. My band is Leonardo Band on SoundCloud and Facebook. Like I said, we got a show coming up on the 17th, so if you happen to be in the Denver area, come check it out and be socially distant and enjoy music. My YouTube channel is Matt the Pharaoh Wizard. I have a video that should be going up very soon of my theories on where the next DC movies are going to take us. And
Mm.
so that'll be some good stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I momentarily forgot that the DC universe existed with
I
everything that
mean,
went on this week.
this is true. I actually forgot I finished the video and like I just need to like, process it and upload it. But I'm like,
Oh, cool.
oh yeah. But
Well, that's a nice
yes.
surprise.
So that'll be going up very soon.
Very cool. Well, thank you guys for listening as always, and please wash your hands.
And wear a damn mask.